So this is the house that I built for the Fake Gamer Girls Challenge. It's called the FGG Million. My name is Michelle. This is the LVTink channel. So yeah, this is my first video I'm actually going to post where people can actually see it. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, this is my house that I worked on. As you can see, very quiet, very quaint. Lots of wonderful little, flowers everywhere, lots of greenery, shrubbery. Nothing too fancy, nothing too special, right? But if you look, you can actually see there's the front door, up those nice little cute stairs. And now apparently there's a plane flying overhead of my house, so if you can hear it, I'm sorry. But yeah, as we kind of go into the house a little bit, I believe I'm going to be going forward in just a moment. I'm having to re-record the audio because my audio recording software didn't record any of the audio, even though it was working 5 seconds before I started recording audio. So anyways, but you'll notice to the left there's this little pathway, which I noticed as I was recording the video that the plots were all off one layer, and that is because when I was building the house, I was trying to add something to the house and it was giving me issues with the stairs, so I ended up having to bring everything down one level, like back flush, and removing the stairs. And when I brought them back up, I didn't bring this one all the way back up to fix the plants. But anyways, that's why they're in a weird spot and just kind of hovering there. So we'll just say that this is a very haunted house and we have some haunted plants. Anyways, you can notice that we can't quite see what's going on back there through that doorway, but it's all blocked. So what we're doing is we're moving on, and we'll come back to that. And we can see to the right there is this little walkway, very cute. We got a little wishing well to the left here, and then over to the right we have the seating area with a nice little fire pit. So that is what's going on there. Again, just kind of nice to sit down and enjoy the scenery, because this is a very beautiful spot. We got these wonderful pots that obviously somebody took the time to paint and create. I was running into a pole, so I was like, oops, watch out. But the big thing that we're noticing here is there's this kind of like almost add-on feature, and then to the right of that there's these statues, again almost kind of creepy. There is also, if you kind of look down the way, more kind of art installations. I later on show you those, so we'll come back to that because I come back around and I show you the backside of the house. But we're going to skip this. Again, that kind of seems like it's tacked on, so what we're going to do is we're going to go look at the main house first. So I come back through and I go up to the top here, and we can see this is the little seating area. Again, it's one seat, there's not a whole lot going on, but it's a little porch area, and all the windows, I also covered them. You'll notice that none of the windows are just easy to see through on purpose, because this house doesn't really want people to just be able to see through the windows. I mean, you can kind of glance at what's going on, but again, that's almost by design, because this part of the house is it just doesn't need to be completely hidden. When you walk through, we have the mirror, which I noticed that like in the mirror it almost like it's doing some kind of x-ray vision. Again, Sims, we got a weird glitching going on here. But they have a really nice TV. We have some little clutter going on here. And then I should point out you can't see through the window because the TV is blocking it. Sorry. Also, another thing you're going to notice is as we're kind of going through the house, there's lots of artwork kind of everywhere. Like whether it's on the ground or on the walls, there's lots of artwork everywhere. But it's not a ridiculous amount. It's just a lot. One thing that you notice also, though, when we finally get into the house itself, is that we have this briefcase full of money. We have the mascot statue from Mount Komorebi. I believe I said that right. And then we have some scrolls here. And then if you go forward, this is the kitchen area with a dining room. You will notice that the table, the chairs aren't really matching it all too much. So there's that whole thing. Again, I'm showing you that there's more artwork on the walls. On the table itself, there's these books. And I kind of play it as the fact that maybe these are books that are for, I went blank here for a second. I'm so sorry. Books for researching art. And then this is the kitchen, which I'm pointing out that like nothing really matches. It's kind of, again, on purpose. This kitchen's just kind of like tacked on of like, we need a kitchen to eat at. So here you go. There's that whole thing. And, but it's nothing too fancy with the kitchen. There is a keg. I did add a keg. I think that comes from Get Together. It's a keg. The globe here, I think this globe is base game. There is another globe that you'll see later on that I think comes with Get Famous. So there's that whole thing. And then we go up the ladder. Oh, and just fair warning, I used pretty much every pack when I built this house. I needed to use 1 million simoleons, which means I needed to use a lot of packs to hit that. I don't know if I could have hit that with the base game. I guess that's another challenge I could have given myself. Because one of the challenges I did when I did this house was I wanted to build on a 20 by 20 lot. So there's that whole thing. I built on a very small lot on purpose because I was like, it's probably easy to build like a gigantic mansion and use all the items and make $1 million home. So I made a smaller home for one person to live in and everything. But that's basically what I did. So, and then, yeah, this is the bathroom. You will notice that the bathroom is very small. Like the sink wasn't even able to get into the bathroom. It is 2 tiles wide. I'm not even 100% sure a sim can technically use the whole entire bathroom. You would have to try it. I did not play test this. This house was not intended to be technically played in. However, if you do ever able to buy it, or you just cheat your way to get it, that's perfectly fine. You can sell all the items, and you can redo this house so that it actually can fit somebody, and then just make this top portion being just an extension of the art studio. Because if you go out to the little cute deck here, there's a very beautiful, like I picked this spot specifically because it's just a very pretty area. This was built in Windenburg. If you're curious where I actually ended up building, if you look at that map, it's in the top left hand corner. It's one of the small little 20 by 20 lots, and I think you get Windenburg with the Get Together pack. So underrated pack. If you ever, that pack I love to Get Together because there's just so much great stuff with that pack. And again, I'm just showing you this beautiful view, which this person's kind of an artsy person, so you can see that they got their little art set up, and they can paint either the still life or the actual wonderful, beautiful scenery, whatever they want to paint, they can do it right here. Sorry, I'm yawning again. It's been a long day. I worked for 3 days, I think I worked on this particular build. I'm not like 100% in love with it. I think anybody that does a build probably is going to run into that. I thought I didn't put a trash can in, and I just realized I did put a trash can in. So there's a bin. We have a trash can. I don't know why I didn't think I did. I guess because it's like so habitual of me to actually add the trash can that I forget that sometimes I did. Now, there isn't a garbage bin for you to take the garbage out to. So there's that. We will have to add that. I felt like that was just going to ruin my whole entire build if I did that. But you can definitely add it. It's not like there's not a spot to add it. At this point in time, I'm like, all right, we're going to go in. We're going to go see what's in that, in this spot that's being blocked by all these plants. There's 2 big, I think these are dressers that I put here and some chairs. So first thing you'll notice, I'm also telling you about how I use the tool mod here, which is pretty nice. It's not the first time I've ever used a tool mod, but this build is the one I've used it the most on and really practiced using the tool mod. If you're hearing clicking, clacking, that's my dog getting up. This is the 3rd time I've tried recording this, and the first 2 times I've put my dogs out and actually recorded without them in this room. I've given up on that since I just wanted to get this audio recorded, and that's where we're at. So one of the things I'm showing off is that there's the 2 big TVs. I think those are Get Famous. I think that's what they come from. And then there's also these signages, which I need to move that one that you're seeing down a bit just because of the fact that I clipped it into the guitar. Those are signed guitars. And then behind that is the really expensive violins that you can get. I think they're like 15,000 simoleons, so I put like 4 of them in here, which you can color them. There's like a bunch of different colors. I think I only did like, I don't know if there's only 3 colors. There's definitely more than the 2 guitar colors, but I only picked those 2 because I really liked vibrant colors, so I picked vibrant colors. You'll notice it feels very cluttered and cramped in here because the person like moved out without selling all of their fenced items. That's where we're at. We're in their fenced items room. This computer is meant for like greeting anybody that comes in, selling any of the stuff in the auction, that kind of stuff. So that's what's going on here. And then you'll notice that like as I was kind of moving around to the left, we're eventually going to see that there's more artwork. I also, when I made the house, not the house, but when I built this room, I was trying to find lighting. I wasn't happy with any of the lighting options really, because honestly, I really just wanted to use the saucer ones, but they're like 50 simoleons. I probably can put those in now because of the fact that I built this house. I think I purposely built it so that it's, I think it's like 86,000 more than a million. So I have room to take those out and probably just put saucers in here, and do that instead. Another thing that I would love to do is probably go into live mode, and change the lighting. This room probably needs to have like more of like dim lighting to it. So probably the light that I use is not the best option. In real life, I probably would make it be a different light, but you'll notice that this light that is right above the Brindleton Bay, I think it's called like the model, is actually clipping into it. I would rather it be a different light there. I put a bunch of gold bars. I just alt placed those. Nothing special. Another thing that I notice is when you're building, you think that you're only hitting the top of the roof, but really you're going above the roof. Which is why the TVs, the big huge monitor TVs, clipped into the roof. In reality, when I was building it, it didn't look like that. It just looked like I was right at the top. So I really could probably bring them down a little bit more. Another thing is when I was building, I didn't notice that painting clipped into that blind, or they're called something. Shades? No. Curtains. There we go. That's something I wanted to, I didn't know it clipped into that, so I probably will fix that. There's a couple of things like I've slowly fixed. The upload is actually, the upload that's to the gallery has some fun stuff to it, that maybe you will not be noticing it in this because I actually fixed it. One of those is when as I mentioned earlier, I had to fix some things, which meant I had to move the stairs around. Well, when I put the stairs back, I forgot to move some of the paintings back. So these paintings that are right here are actually like on a different wall, because I was just moving them over because I didn't want to lose the paintings that I pulled. So that's something to keep that in mind, is that you'll have to put those paintings back. They're still in the build. They're just in a different spot. So that was it in this room. So as I said, this room was like the fence room. This is where, the worker, because the person that owns this house that lives upstairs, that does all the art stuff, they don't actually come down and actually sell anything. Their job is to just own this house and do the paint and everything. So they're just upstairs painting. So the worker will be fencing and everything downstairs in the ground floor, but then you'll notice that we're going down to the basement. Now eventually you're going to see me kind of switching, because I'm going to actually switch the camera, because I was able to come down this using the camera. I did go into the camera settings and made it so I can come down, but one of the things I discovered is that there's a really weird glitch that happens, which removes the walls in the basement, even though I have walls in there. So I wanted to show you the walls, so I actually just switched over the camera a little bit, but I was still able to kind of like come down here and actually show you it. So we walk through here, you'll notice there's a lot of clutter, lots of clutter. There's so much stuff. This took me forever. This is what took me all day. This was actually what I worked on all day today, because I actually had everything else previously finished, but everything above ground is about 50K. It's about 500K. So everything in this room is another 500K. And that made the million. Like everything in this room made up the 500K. This is also the room that really gave me the practice with the tool mod. So if you ever get the ability to use the tool mod, I highly recommend it. The really cool thing about the tool mod is even though I used it, and even though like I applied it to a bunch of the stuff here, it does not count anything as CC. So even like console players are going to be able to use everything that I've done in this build. The only thing is that you need to have move objects on. Obviously, just because of how everything is placed, it's all alt. A lot of this stuff is alt placed. Like basically anything that I put on the walls are probably alt placed. All these paintings that are on the ground, those are actually placed via tool mod. I don't think you'll have any issues with that specifically because they're placed by tool mod. They're not alt placed, so you'll be fine with those. So do make sure you have testing cheats on BB move objects, and you should be fine. You shouldn't be missing anything when you download this from the gallery. I did add the vault. As you can see, it is empty because the person that used to live in this house didn't leave their money. And they did leave all their artwork, but you know what? They didn't spend any money to get this artwork. They just stole all this stuff, so they didn't care if they lost it. But they do care about their money, so they took their money. The other thing that I'm showing here is the monolith, and how like the monoliths themselves are huge, and I sized them all the way down here. There's a bunch of them. I think I have like 4 in here. Another thing is eventually we're going to come around. I'm going to show you the ballerinas right here, which I thought was really cool. I love these little ballerina characters. Oh, it looks like I'm showing you the trophies. But really, it's the ballerinas eventually. I must have been talking about something else when I got to that point. But yeah, these little guys, I was pointing out that you can use the bracket key to size down the statues. And the biggest ballerina there does bring it down to that size, but I wanted him smaller, so I used the tool mod to size him down. I also used the tool mod to size down these really cool like light statues here, which I think are just awesome. Look at that statue. That thing is so cool looking. I'm even zooming in, like look how cool it is. So that one I'm probably going to use. I'm going to probably find a reason to use those. I might make like a community lot, like maybe a museum or something. These little trophies, you're hearing some clicking because Roxy's just going all over the place because she's getting antsy. But these trophies are like 2,000, so that's why I put a bunch of them there. These, I was showing how I had to use the tool. Like, this is just basically like an advertisement to use the tool mod, because these paintings, I had to use the tool mod to size them down and actually get them in that slot, because paintings will automatically clip to the wall. So I didn't want them to clip to the wall, so I had to use the tool mod to move them. Using the move feature is not super easy in the tool mod. I highly recommend checking out Trixie Maxie's. I'm gonna have to look up the name because I don't think I'm saying that one right. But the person that created the tool mod, they have tutorials on how to use them. I highly recommend watching those. That is a big thing that I would recommend if you ever get the tool mod. There's like 2 different ones. There's one that was like the original tool mod tutorial. Watch that one, but then also watch the one when he added it to the build and buy, which is something I have. I have the organized debug, which is the better build and buy mod. That one I would highly recommend. That mod, I recommend the UI cheats, just because it makes it so much easier to like right click and do stuff when you need to, especially if you're testing stuff. And then there's also the MC Command Center is another mod I would highly recommend, just for that one helps with like a plethora of other mods, so I definitely recommend those. If you are looking into getting into some mods, I also have a lot of custom content. I'm probably going to do some custom content shopping later today, just because it's free as opposed to me shopping in real life, so it saves me money because I don't buy for myself. Although I haven't been wanting to buy clothes for myself in years because I don't like buying clothes for myself anymore. This was me kind of just showing the final, like here you go, talking about how most of the expensive items in this game are ridiculously ugly, and I would not use them in real life. I would not use them for one of my normal builds, but this particular build was for what if I needed to stash a bunch of expensive items that I plan to sell. So that was the point of this, was how you do that. Also, this particular room was designed, notice that everything's like smaller and kind of obscure to the original version. So these are all more counterfeit items is how I'm planning on playing it, and that's what these people are doing. Their job is to sell a bunch of counterfeit items. So everybody on the floor above is selling like the real stuff at like auction, and people that are walking in, they're selling that. And then this floor is all the counterfeit items, which is why they're not really still locked up or anything like that and everything. But I don't know. It may have made more sense to actually make, these the real items and the stuff upstairs being the counterfeit items. But yeah, either way, that's how I built it. And that is pretty much it. I did have a lot of fun building this stuff. Like I said, doing a build challenge was new for me. Not because I've never done a build challenge before. I've never done one that was like official. Like I've been inspired by build challenges, but I've never done them myself. So again, it's the FGG Million, which is the Big Gamer Girls Challenge for the $1 million homes or buildings, whatever you want to call it. I'm just showing the back side of the building now. The statues are all from, I think it's called like the Romantic Garden Pack or something like that. I can't even remember why I bought that pack. I must have just been like, I want more stuff that I could put outside, so I bought that pack. So if you'd like to decorate outside, that's a great pack for that. But other than that, it's not worth it. You could probably figure out to use other stuff instead, because there's plenty of other plants. I just purposely used all of those plants because I'm like, you know what, if I have that pack, they're all expensive too. So again, that was kind of where I'm showing off this window and how the fact that you can't see in through it because it's looking right into the fencing room. So that was why I showed that. And then I'm showing off like this beautiful view that you have around and how they are isolated because they picked a very specific spot for isolation. They didn't want people to be able to just walk into their house and, steal shit. So they're just literally isolated. There's one way into this building and there's multiple people being able to see into it. I did forget to put a camera on the basement level. I should have done that. That would have made sense, but I was probably tired at that point. I was like, okay, we're done. I hit the $1 million. I'm not putting any more stuff in this house. There's a couple of things I forgot to put in this house. Like I meant to also put like some of the eco lifestyle stuff. I wanted to add this to be like off the grid house because I was like, well, they want to make sure that they're also off the grid so that, the authorities doesn't know that they're here. Like there's a lot that I was planning on doing with this particular build. Again, I had a lot of fun with this build. I definitely look forward to doing more builds in the future. You can find a lot of my inspiration from Pinterest pages. If I have the opportunity, I will put up the inspiration that I had from Pinterest, because this house was actually based off of a cartoony house that I saw, and I just pinned it on my Pinterest page. I have a board for all of my like Sims ideas. There's like mods, CC content, and like architectural designs all on my Pinterest page for that. Or board, excuse me. I definitely recommend checking out Big Gamer Girl's channel. She is a hoot to watch. She's so hilarious. She has a couple of like series that are just, lore based and things like that, and story based. It's just very interesting. She also does a lot of comparison videos from the previous Sims, which a lot of Simmers do. But I like hers because it's not saying that like I don't like other ones. Plumbella's great, Little Simsy's great, James Turner's great, The Legacy's great. So if you get a chance, check out all of them. They're awesome. I'm not saying I'm great at all. This is just a build that I had a lot of fun doing. So thanks very much, guys.